Good morning, everyone. Assalamu alaikum. And thank you so much for such a warm welcome and such a wonderful introduction, SSR. And it's an opportunity for me also. I am always feeling like I always feel so good when I can do anything for my own university, Aligarh Muslim University. So definitely it's a privilege for me to be here at this platform. And thank you so much for providing me this opportunity. So as you have said, already briefed the audience that what are the main takeaways for the today's session. So quickly, I would like to take you through the agenda of today's session. So we will be focusing mainly on 4 parts. The first part, I'll be talking about and sharing my experience and my views on how the market trends have been changing, especially during the last 1.5 years during this pandemic. So how market trends have changed and how different things came up, which are going to stay for in future as well. Secondly, I will be talking about what are the core skills for technical students, for engineering students, and for other technical students. What are the core skills apart from your own technical background, which you need to acquire, which you need to accrue in order to have good competence right now and in future. Thirdly, we will be talking about and discussing about how innovation plays a very important role in the education system, especially when we talk about the current circumstances. And then I will be giving you some quick tips which will be helpful for you when you will be preparing your CVs, your resumes, and you will be preparing for your online interviews, because most of the things are happening virtually right now. And this is going to stay, at least in India, this is going to stay for some time now. So I will be talking about and sharing some quick tips which you have to keep in mind when you are preparing your resume to send to the employer, and also when you are preparing for the online and virtual interviews. So first, I would like to talk about the skills, how the skills have changed, because you all might have addressed and you all might have witnessed that how this pandemic COVID-19 crisis actually redefined the game of the market. Actually, it has redefined, and it has redefined it throughout the globe. There are certain industries which are hardly hit by this pandemic, and there are certain industries which are not that hardly hit, but they have suffered a lot. And there are certain industries which actually got benefited out of it. So it's very important for you as a student right now, and very soon you will be passing out. So it is very important for you to have this kind of analysis, this kind of analysis you have to do to find out what is trending in the market. Because if you are still behind, employers will not prefer you. They will not select you over the other candidates. So your competition, because your competition has actually increased with this virtual things which came up, the competition has actually increased because nowadays they have find out this way that yes, we can hire people to work remotely, which earlier people were hesitant, organizations were hesitant. So it was all like physical presence in the office kind of job. But now organizations have understood that there are certain positions, there are certain profiles wherein people can work remotely and they are working fine. So in that sense, if you see, your competition actually has increased. So you have to be prepared and you have to gear up and you have to prepare yourself not only for Indian market, but you have to prepare yourself also for the global market, because now you have ample opportunities wherein you can apply full-time, part-time, contractual, depending upon in which country you are applying. There are different kind of employments. So it's very important for you to find out what are the different things, what are the different options which are there for you, which you have not explored yet, or which you have not explored earlier. So if we talk about if we talk about the current trends or the upcoming skills which become very important in current market, the first one is autonomy. You all must have heard about artificial intelligence, isn't it? You all are technical students. You all are students of AMU. So I'm sure that you must have heard about artificial intelligence. But still, I found that because I am in contact with many students from many universities here also in India also. So I find that students, they have not actually deep dived into artificial intelligence. They know it superficially, but they have not deep dived into it. So it's very important for you to understand what is artificial intelligence, because this is the very potential upcoming field which is going to stay in future as well. So you have to find out and you have to study about artificial intelligence, which is, touching each and every field, be it management, be it engineering, be it computer science, be it hospitality, be it hospitals, be it like healthcare, any sector, any organization, every sector, every industry, they are being touched by artificial intelligence. And this is one of the sector where companies are, they want people. They want people in this specialization. They want people with these kind of skills. Second thing is working on real-time data, because now what has happened is, especially when this virtual things have started, there is a lot of data with the organizations, and they now need someone to work on that data. So now organizations, they are encouraging people to work on more real-time data. I hope you all understand how working on real-time data actually makes a difference for the organization. So it is like if there is a video, you are having a look at the video, like how many users, how many people are viewing that video, how many people, for what duration they are viewing the video, where exactly they are, they are leaving the video, where exactly they are, there are more people joining the video. So if you are analyzing e-commerce, for example, e-commerce completely depends on working on analytics in real-time data. So this is again an upcoming field here, especially in UAE and also in other countries, because more and more you work on analytics on real-time data, the more and more realistic and correct your results and outcomes will be. Next one is plug and play word. So what is plug and play word? Plug and play word is like you have one small product, which is like a self-sustained product, which gives you a complete solution. For example, you have small campus cars for to commute within the campus. So these are eco-friendly cars, these are electric cars, or these are the cars which have their own solar panels, and they are self-sustained cars. So it is like one small product, and which is providing you many solutions. So you just have to plug and you start using that product. So these kind of innovation, these kind of techniques, these kind of products, they are in demand. They are in demand in the present scenario, and they are going to be in demand in future also, especially eco-friendly products, because now there are more and more emphasis on environmental friendly products, eco-friendly products, green products, reducing pollution. So try to get into these fields, because these things are going to be the future. Now we have seen that the products also are changing. So there are more and more complex products are coming up. If you look at phones, if you look at security devices, if you look at vehicles, so the complexity of the products are increasing. So your knowledge should not be confined only in one area. You have to diversify your knowledge. If you want to be competent in present and future scenarios, you have to diversify your knowledge. For example, if you talk about vehicles, so earlier we were having only petrol vehicles or diesel vehicles. Then came this CNG and PNG vehicle. Then came electrical vehicle. Now hybrid vehicles. So now self-driven cars, or there are so many of the car with sensors. They can sense the traffic, they can sense the people on the road, and there are so many technologies which are coming up. So day by day, the products and services, they are becoming more complex. Why they are becoming more complex? Because there are so many disciplines, there are so many expertise which are coming together for one product. So this you also have to do. You have to diversify your knowledge. You have to diversify your expertise, your area of expertise. You should not be confined to one particular area. Okay, this is my area. Like, for example, if I talk about myself, so I should not be thinking, okay, I'm an HR person, so my area is HR. So anything beyond HR, I should not be concerned. No, the more I connect myself to other areas of specialization, the better will be my competence. The better will be my understanding and my working with other areas and other disciplines. So, for example, I am from HR, but I have also done many courses in quality management. So why I have done that? Because now I can integrate these two areas. I can integrate these two areas. So if I'm working for providing HR consultancy for any organization, I can clearly imbibe the quality management systems and quality management, the policies and procedures into HR policies. I have done analytics. I might be thinking that analytics is not my area, because I'm from HR, and HR and analytics, they're not together, business analytics. But I have done analytics also because now I can use the same data, the same employee data for different kind of analytics, which will be beneficial for the organization. Next thing is robotics. So robotics, I'm sure that you all must have heard that it is how much trendy it has become and how much important it has become. So when you talk about artificial intelligence, when you talk about...
Just a second, just to stop. Are you sharing your slides?
No. As of now, I'm not sharing my slides. I will tell. When I share my slide, I will tell.
No problem. I just wanted to make sure because we are...
When I'll share my slide,
I just wanted to make sure that there is no technical glitch. That is why. Sorry to stop you.
No. It's perfectly okay. I'll tell you when I'll share the slides. I'll tell you.
Fine.
Yeah, so I was talking about artificial intelligence. There are few things which everyone is supposed to know now. And in future, this will become, the basic skills that you should be knowing when you will be going to apply for any job. Like, for example, today we know that if a person is applying for a job, he must be knowing about how to work on Excel, PowerPoint, Word, right? So in future, after a few years, there is going to be this artificial intelligence, AR, VR, Internet of Things. These kind of things will become basic qualification, basic skills, which engineering students, at least, they should be having, they should be well versed. So the earlier you get into these and you get some specialization into this, the better will be for you. And the easier will be your access into the organizations, and your applications will be preferred, you will be preferred over other candidates. The idea for changing market trends and how to sustain in market trends based on your capability is what more you can offer. That's very important, because if you're going to the employer with a degree, just imagine how many other students, how many other candidates are having the same degree, maybe the same percentage, same marks, or even better percentage than you. So this is not to encourage you, but this is to enlighten you that if you are sending an application, there should be some value in it. Apart from your normal certification programs, your normal qualification, there should be some value addition in your profile. That's very important. This is what organizations and employers, they look now. That what more you have done, how you are better, why you should be preferred over the others, how you are better than others. So this better thing, this value addition thing is very important to do in present scenario. Then we have seen that actually the entire industry's norms, policies, and their preferences of skills, everything has been redefined. So you have to embrace yourself with the change. You have to, and for that, it's very important, first of all, to you to know that what are the changes happening, and how I can fit myself into these changes. That's very important for you to know. Now, the next thing I would like to tell you about how multidisciplinary things come together. So, for example, just imagine a product. If an electric engineer and a mechanical engineer, they are working together on that product to define definitely the embedded capabilities of the product, the specifications of the product. Now, after that, you will be needing manufacturing engineers to be part of that product, to design the product, to make sure that all the embedded capabilities and all the specifications and features are there in the product, which are preferred in the market or which will be preferred by the consumer. After that, you will be needing marketing specialists, you will be needing procurement specialists, you will be needing purchasing specialists to define the cost, service level, and other functions of the product. So you can see, if we talk about one product, there are so many specializations, they are working together. So if you, for example, if you are a mechanical engineer, but at the same time you have extended your knowledge in electrical engineering, the basic thing, not like a proper certification, but the basic, at least the basic operational knowledge you have. So you will be a better fit for this particular team. Because now organizations, they don't look for one set of qualification only, they look for the versatility of the candidate, the you know, how the candidate has opened the horizons of knowledge for him. Different diversified knowledge is what is preferred. So one person should be a solution to 2-3 things in the organization. So it's not like jack of all trades and master of nothing. It is master of one, and then you have a breadth of knowledge, wherein you have the knowledge of your existing field as well as the connected and you know, the connected and integrated fields. So that's very important. Again, that's a very important thing which I want you all to focus on in future, and you can start working on it. So if you have a specialization in one stream, if you have a specialization in one area, try to bring more things into your basket. So more you have on your plate, the better will be your platter. Then we have things like cybersecurity, which is again a very upcoming, and in future there's going to be lots and lots of jobs, especially in cybersecurity. So I have seen how people have actually started preparing for that. So I know many people who have done different certifications in cybersecurity, like for the auditors and all, cybersecurity auditors and all. So what will happen when the jobs will come? They want people who are ready with the certifications. They want people who are ready with the expertise. So at that time, you will not get time to, you know, get through it and do it, because there will be so many people who will be thinking on the same drum. So you have to be, if you want to, you know, sustain in future, the first thing is which is important is you have to be proactive. You have to be proactive, and you have to sense what is going to be in the future. So cybersecurity is again a very upcoming field, especially in India, because you must be aware about the cybersecurity laws and norms that have been changed by the government, and very soon they are going to be implemented for at least for Indian companies, because the threats and, you know, the frauds that actually grown and risen up a lot in India. So these kind of things definitely have a lot of scope in future. Then we have things like esports. We have things like 3D and 4D animations, which, because when we think about the esports and 3D, 4D animations, the first thing that comes to our mind is games, right? So I can understand. The first thing that comes to our mind is games. But believe me, 3D and 4D animations, they have vast use, not only in games, not only in gamification, but also in many other industries, like automobile industry, like healthcare. It has huge implications in healthcare. And then we have manufacturing industries. There are so many industries. We have this education industry. So there are so many industries where this 3D and 4D real estate, in the real estate industry as well. So 3D, 4D animations are again, it's going to be a very, it's upcoming, and it's going to be in future. It's going to remain in future. Then Internet of Things, which have been there for quite some time, but it is going to stay, especially in this virtual world, is going to stay. And then we have simulations. So my idea of telling you these things is that you cannot master all, you cannot master everything, but at least choose 2 or 3 out of these things which are upcoming to strengthen your profile, to strengthen your skill, and to strengthen your profile. So you have, if you want, I can share that the list also with Faisal. So you can have a look at it, but this list is still not the exhaustive list. There could be many. So you have to find out those things which can add value to your specialization and your skill set and your current level of skill, and which can make you more competent and more better, more preferred employee or candidate in future. So this was about the market trends, how things are changing, and these are the upcoming things. These are the few potential upcoming things which are going to stay in future. So try to get into it, try to bridge a link to it. And now I will talk about what are the skills that an engineering students and the technical students should possess when you want to be competent, you want to grow, and you want to do good in your existing jobs when you will be joining. So there are a few things which you have to do. So sooner or later, you have to do that. The sooner you will do, the better will it be. Now, there is a trend, especially in India, we have seen that trend that the technical students, they just focus on their technical expertise, their technical competence. And it's true. You will get a job based on your technical expertise only, because this is something, this is your core expertise, and you should never be deviated from that. I would never suggest you to be deviated from your technical skills and technical competence. So this is something which is core to you. stick to that, develop that. But at the same time, there are certain things which you have to develop into your personality. That's what we call the personality development side, or what we call the soft skills development side. So this is actually one of the most neglected skills when we talk about engineering students, when we talk about technical students. This is one of the most neglected kind of skills among these students. But sooner or later, they realize that, yes, this is something we have to develop. Now, developing these skills while working or while doing a job is very difficult, because then your time is limited, your resources are limited, your responsibilities are very high, your stress level is very high. So it's better you work on it, because right now you have time, you can work on these skills and you can develop these skills, because this will make you a strong candidate. So in management, there's a very famous saying that a manager should look like a manager. So you may be joining as a fresher, but you will not be going to remain as a fresher. You will be a beginner, but you are not going to remain a beginner. The more you develop yourself for higher levels, the better will be your personality and your perceived candidature by the employers. So when I talk about the skills, the first skill which is very important is communication skills. And there was a Bridge Lab survey that was conducted especially on engineering students. And believe me, it was found there that 90% of the job seekers in engineering, they said that, or they have responded that, yes, they are missing on communication and other soft skills. They think that, yes, it is important and this is what we should be developing, at least when we were in the college. Because now we are facing problems because of this. So communication, business communication skills is one of the skills that you should be developing. You should be knowing that how to write an email. There are set language of writing proper, formal, professional emails. So many times, because if you have not done it, you will not be knowing it. So knowing it and learning it while doing it in the real job, that becomes very difficult. So it's important that you work on it, you learn business communication skills, how to respond to emails, how to ask for the applications, how to apply for or send the application, how to design your cover letter, how to design your email when you are sending it to the employer, to the potential employer. What are the etiquettes when you're talking about responding to the emails, or how to talk on a professional call. So this business communication skill is very important for all these students, irrespective of the discipline, irrespective of the specialization. It is important for all the students. The next skill which is very trending and which is becoming very common is learning a foreign language. So if you are intended to go in some other country, if, like, for example, if you want to come into Middle East, so I would suggest that start learning Arabic. Because if there is, for example, if you're going to Germany, start learning Deutsch. If you want to go to any other country, start learning the language. Learn the language. If the language is going to be a barrier, what is the barrier when you are going to be there? Or if not barrier, then it can be a privilege. So sometimes here we see that for certain profiles, the preference will be given to an Arabic speaking person. So it's not that non-Arabic will not be selected. But yes, if there are two similar candidature and one person knows the language, so the preference will be given to that person. So be very, very particular about it. If you have target any specific target country in your mind, that in future I want to see myself settling in that country, start learning the language of that country. It's going to benefit you a lot in future, the moment you will land there or try to search jobs over there. Then comes the leadership skills. So at times you must be thinking, like, why I should be knowing the leadership skills right now? I'm not a leader, I'm not a manager. But believe me, sooner you will try to work like a leader, or you try to learn how to use the leadership skills and what kind of leadership skills you should have, the better will be your chances for the promotions. Because this is also what happens in the corporate, and this is also, I have seen in many profiles, that people who are working as team members, but they have strong leadership skills. Leadership skills is not dictation. It's not like dictating others or ordering others. This is not leadership. So leadership skills, and especially in current scenario, the leadership skills have changed. So it is more and more emphasis on, we can say, emotional intelligence, emotional question, and more and more emphasis on value-based leadership. So these upcoming concepts of leadership are going to stay in future. So the time has gone when we were talking about, transformational leadership, transactional leadership, charismatic leadership, and all. Now the time has changed, and now the things like value-based leadership, servant leadership, and the things like emotional intelligence, how to be an emotionally intelligent leader, these things are coming up. So you have to brace yourself with what is coming in across the globe, what is coming up, and how these things can add value to you. Next thing is adaptability. So adaptability skills is very important. Just be open. Wherever you will get a good opportunity, you should be open to go. I have seen when I was in India, and I was used to work in one of the university, and I have seen many students, what they used to do is they got an offer, right? But they don't want to go because they don't want to go to that place. They don't want to go to that city. They don't want to go to that place. So do not have these, preconceived notions in your mind. Have good adaptability into in whatever environment it is. If this is a good job, if this is a good area, if this is a good opportunity for you to learn, to grow, not only in terms of money, but in terms of experience also. So initially when you are applying, do not just run behind the money, run behind the experience. It's very simple to get a job, but it's very difficult to get a job in your area of expertise where you will be getting ample opportunities to learn and experience. So my suggestions always will be that try to get into your area, try to get into that opportunity where you can have the chances to learn a lot, and just have high level of adaptability. Do not just restrict yourself within your comfort zone. For achieving something extraordinary, you have to come out of your comfort zone. Next is stress management. Stress management is important, I would say. It is very important in current scenario because I am sure that you people are stressed. There are many students, especially the students section, they are very stressed nowadays because of the things which are happening, because of the job opportunities, because of the, the competition that has become really tough, and things that have become really demanding, and the job opportunities have also decreased a lot. There are many industries which are not recruiting at all. So my suggestion to you is learn how to manage stress. There are certain coping strategies. So stress is not only like people say that why are you stressed? If you are stressed, just stop thinking about it. Do not think about it. Do not take stress. But this is not going to serve your purpose. If you are stressed, you need to find out the coping strategies. There is a proper strategy system for the stress management. So stress management skills are one of the skills that every person should have, especially the students who are entering into the corporate right now. They should know how to manage their own stress. So try to explore this more. Try to explore what contribute to your stress, and what are your stresses, and how exactly, what are the coping strategies that you can design for yourself to handle your stress. So stress management again is a very important skill right now, and it's going to be important. It is like it's an evergreen skill, you can say, because the stress will always be there whenever you will be doing a job, whenever you will be working. The more you grow, the better will be your definitely experience, but at the same time, the more you grow, the more will be the responsibilities on you, and the more responsibilities will be there, more accountability will be there. More accountability means more stress. So you should be knowing how you can handle stress. Next thing which I would like to suggest you all is be a continuous learner. Be a continuous learner. Do not think that I've done my diploma, I've done my engineering degree, I've done my degree, so this is the end of the the education system. So now my education is complete. Now I have to go out and work, and there is no further education, there is no further studies, there's no further learning, so I have to go out and I have to work now. The study part is over. So do not think like at any point in time, do not think that your study part is over. Always try to keep learning. Always try to keep learning. For example, if you are in social media marketing, okay, so you must be thinking, okay, now I know everything about the social media networks that I'm using, how I can market, how can I use each and every feature I know. So I need not to learn anything else. But at the same time, if you are working on social media marketing, and if you're working on real-time data, then you have to know about the psychology of the customers also. So there is more to learn. There is more to learn. You have to now learn NLP also, right? You have to learn the customer preferences also. You have to learn the psychology of the customers also. So there is no end to learning. Never ever think that now the learning has stopped and I do not have to invest more on my education, on my learning. Always be open to invest in your education. No matter how many years of experience you have, if you are not keeping yourself abreast with the new knowledge which is coming up, new expertise which is coming up, after some time you're going to become obsolete. So you have to update yourself. I hope you all use mobile phones, isn't it? So if you purchase a new mobile phone, what happen after 1 or 2 years? What will happen? After 1 year, you will start getting notifications, right? System or software update. A software update is recommended. So you keep on updating the software. If you will not, what will happen if you will not update the software? And after some time, that particular version doesn't no, it's no longer working with the new applications or new games. So what you have to do is you have to change the mobile set. You have to get a new version of the new software version. Or if you will not do this, what will happen? You have to be happy with the old applications only. You will not be able to use new applications. You will not be able to use new games, download new applications, because that will not be compatible with your operating system, with your software. So same happens with you, because your software is here in your gray matter. Same happens with you also. If you are not keeping yourself updated with what is happening, what new things are coming up, you are not keeping yourself updated, then what will happen? After some time, your software will become obsolete, and then your software will not be compatible to work on new things or new challenges. So if your software is not, your expertise is not at par with the new market developments, what will happen? The employer will not select you. They will not prefer you, because they want someone who brings new expertise. They don't want someone who are still working with the traditional approaches. So continuous learning is something which you have to ensure, not only today, but in future also. You have to ensure that you are continuously learning, doing something or the other which adds value. Big, small, short courses, long-term courses, degrees, certification, whatever you are doing, trainings, developmental activities, whatever you are doing, but make sure that you are continuously learning and updating yourself and adding some value to your system. That's very important. The next skill which is important is creativity. Especially in your field, creativity is a very important skill. It makes remarkable differences, especially in your field, because when technology is blended with creativity, wonders happen. So creativity is very important, and you have to find out where exactly you can be innovative in your area, where exactly innovation is happening, where exactly creativity is required. So creativity is something like, creativity is not only always designing the new things. Creativity could be like, for example, if you are facing a problem in your current job, you're going to your manager saying that this is a problem I'm facing. So just now, right now, if you're doing this, you are just a complaining mind. You're just a complaining brain. But at the same time, if you're going to your manager, addressing him that I'm facing this problem while doing this job, this is a problem I'm facing, and this is how I think it can be solved. So now you are going not only with the problem, but you are also proposing a potential solution. Now that's a different thing, whether that solution will be feasible in big picture of the organization or not, and whether that will be acceptable. That's a different question. But at least when you have a problem, you are facing a problem, you are not only just complaining, but you are also providing a solution. So this is the kind of people organizations they prefer. They do not come with problems, come with a solution as well. So when will this come? From where will this come? This will come from your creativity skills. So try to be more exploratory about how the creativity can be imbibed into your area of expertise, into your area of specialization, how creativity could be imbibed into it. Then the next one is data literacy. So data literacy, as you know, that now everything is in data. Everything is in data. Companies, they have lots and lots of data. I was stated earlier also. And now organizations, they want someone who can use that data more constructively. So you have to learn things. You have to learn softwares. Try to explore in your specialization area, in your expertise, what kind of upcoming softwares are there. Try to learn them. Try to understand how to operate them. Try to use them, And do not just run behind what others are doing. So if others are doing SAP, so I should also be doing SAP. No, there could be better options than SAP. So the idea is that be data literate, because data is future and future is data. That everything will be data driven now, at least in future. So we cannot say that the things are, because I have seen one more thing, that people, they are sitting and they are just waiting for things to go back to normal. Right? So we are just waiting things to go back to normal, and then we will start working on it. Believe me, that nothing like this is going to happen. The change has already happened. This change has taken place. Now you can never ever imagine things going back to what they were used to be in 2018 and 2019. You cannot imagine that. The things are never going to back to be normal, and the things are not going to be the way they used to be. The change has happened, and now whatever happened, whatever will happen, it will happen from here. So now from here only things will take off. So do not wait for things to go back to normal. Accept the change, accept the challenges. If challenges are there, opportunities are also there. So try to find out how you can build up your profile, and you can build up your expertise and your offerings. That's a more important things. Next skill which is important is collaboration. And believe me, right now, I have been in contact with many companies in India, as well as here and in other GCC countries also. I have seen the established companies, big international, big shots. Those companies are facing problems of collaboration and coordination among their employees. And among the same set of employees which were working earlier, fine. So for example, there are 10 people in a team. So earlier, when they were going to the office before pandemic, it was all good. Now those 10 employees, those 10 team members now working from home, and there are so many conflicts coming up. There are so many problems coming up. They are not able to collaborate with each other. They are not able to coordinate with each other. They are not able to come at a common platform. The communication problems are there. So I have seen big companies, they are now working on improving the communication among their existing team members. Can you imagine? So work on your collaboration skills. Work on your collaboration skills, that how you can collaborate more with people, with teamwork. What are the things that you have to learn in order to have a good team member, to be a good team member. So there are so many courses also which emphasize on this, which will teach you, these are the skills that you have to imbibe, these are the skills that you have to learn to be a good team member, how the cooperation how you can bring the cooperation, how you can bring collaboration, and how you can bring communication within the team. So these kind of people, these kind of people, they are always preferred by the organizations. They will always be the first choice of the organization, because if we have more good people, there will be less conflicts. Now, the next thing is self-motivation. Self-motivation is important because right now the stress level and negativity is so much. You can see, especially the conditions which are right now in India, there is so much of negativity. I am sitting here, I get so much of hallucination thinking about India, because my family is back there in India. So there is so much of negativity all around. It's very important to keep yourself motivated. So have that locus of control within yourself. Have this control within yourself, and keep yourself motivated. Try to find out what keeps you motivated. So one such thing which I have implemented on myself, and I have seen people doing that, and also I have suggested many people to do, is value addition. So if you are not able to get a job right now, do not panic, do not be depressed, do not be stressed, right? Because this is an external condition. This is something which is beyond your control, and you cannot do that. So utilize your time. There should always be value adding into the time, either in the form of job or in the form of knowledge. Because if you are adding value in terms of knowledge, definitely it's going to pay you off in future. So that self-motivation is again a very important thing right now, and it will be preferred by the employers. Always it is preferred by the employer. Employers want people who are self-motivated. Next skill is the critical skills. So critical thinking, I would say. So what is critical thinking? Do anyone has any idea about critical thinking? You all are technical students, you all are specialized. So anyone who knows what do you mean by critical thinking? Can you just type into the chat box? Or anyone who want to speak?
Yeah, type your ideas about whatever you understand from critical thinking, whatever your vague understanding is.
What is your idea of critical thinking?
Students.
Thinking which leads to the solution of a problem. Yes. Come on, only one? Only Vikas? Very good, Vikas. I really appreciate the way you took the initiative and you were the first one to respond. Ability to think clearly and rationally about what to do or what to believe. Very good. Think clearly. Come on. I want some more responses from you guys. Ability to think clearly. Think with decision. Think with decision or the implication of the decision in mind. Effective thinking, the intellectually disciplined process of actively and skillfully conceptualizing, applying, analyzing, synthesizing. Very big words. Very good. Critical thinking is the ability to think clearly and rationally, understanding the logical connection between ideas. Critical thinking is the analysis of facts to form a judgment, thinking of anything from every point, clearly and rationally, understanding the logical connection between ideas. Very good. Beautiful, beautiful. I'm really happy to see such kind of responses from you guys. And this is what exactly critical thinking is. So critical thinking is when you are able to make more rational decisions, when you are able to live up to your accountability, when you are able to make more informed decisions. So, and it is completely based on data and facts. That's important. That's the most important point. But at the same time, one skill which is required to be a critical thinker is you know that you have to make decision based on data. But at the same time, you should be knowing, because right now there are so much of data, right? There's so much of data. Now you should be knowing that how to distinguish between the authentic data and the fake data. That's very important, because if you are the choice of data and the choice of sources, that's very important. So you should have that ability. Yeah, it is an ability. It's an ability to find out, not only to make decisions based on the data, or not only to make informed decisions, or not only to keep the consequences in mind when you are making the decisions, but it also requires the ability to search and reach to the right sources of information from where you will get more authentic data and more reliable and authentic data. Because your decision, the implication of your decision, everything is depending upon the data you are working on. So it's very important to find out, or to be able to, the ability to research and find out the right sources of data. So this is again a very important component of critical thinking, which I wanted to emphasize on. So you all know what critical thinking is, but one point I wanted to add is that you should be able to identify what are the reliable sources of data, what are the valid sources and authentic sources of data, and how to reach those data sources, and how to filter out the fake data from the authentic data. That's again a very important thing. Now, these were some core skills. And apart from these core skills, there are some general skills which are also important, which have been important. And I'm sure that you must have worked on these skills, but this is again important in future. So the things like public speaking, the thing like presentation skills, working on Excel, not basic, but advanced Excel working. Then the ease and art of attending online meetings, online interviews, that's also important. So when we talk about presentation skills or public speaking skills, it's not only that you are just presenting your ideas or you are speaking, how good you are speaking, how good you are, or how fluently you are speaking, but it is like how well you are able to communicate your point and present your idea to the other person. So how well you are able to connect with your audience, that's also very important. Just that connection building, that engagement of your audience, then understanding that audience and communicating your idea clearly the way it should be to the audience. That is what presentation skills. And there are so many things like body language, non-verbal communication. They play a very important role. I must say that people, they don't give much importance to body language, or maybe like they are not aware about how body language can be a great source of communication when you are talking about anything, or you are talking to anyone, or you are going for interview. How your body language actually plays a very important role in communicating. So that's also very important. How you should be sitting, how you should be talking, how what should be your hand movements, eye contact, everything actually communicates something or the other to the other person. So these are the things which you have to learn, which you should learn. These are the skills which you should learn in order to get through your interviews, or to do more better in your jobs in future as well. Now, after this skills discussion on these skills, I would like to highlight few things why I think, and there have been many researchers also, why it's important to bring innovation in education. Because see, right now the things which are not being a part of the curriculum of current education system, the students, they have to go extra mile to acquire those skills. So it's important for the education system to imbibe, to abreast itself also with the changes which are happening in the globe, around the world, the changes which are happening. So it's very important for the education system also to be innovative in its approach, to bring in these different things and different technologies and new changes into the system. Either make incremental changes in your existing system, or you have to redesign your system. So I would like to share my slides now with you. So just give me a moment. I'll just share my slides with you. Okay. Yeah, I hope you all can see the slides.
Yeah, they are visible, but if you can just maximize the.
Yeah, I've done that.
Okay. They are visible. No problem.
They're visible? Okay.
Yeah.
So when we talk about the innovation in education, when we talk about innovation in education, the three steps should be that first you have to assess your current stage, that what is your current stage of innovation in education. Then you have to make small changes. Do not make radical changes all of a sudden, because it should be compatible with the system also. So make small changes and then broaden the scope while taking the feedback. So innovation in education should always be slow, gradual, but it should be consistent. That's very important, that it should be consistent. So this could be done, especially for the technical students, this could be done on the basis of projects. So there should be more project-based learning, and the project that we're talking about, they should always be interdisciplinary projects. So do not just give projects, or the project should not be, confined to one area of expertise. As I said earlier also, now the time is that there should be more integration of different disciplines together. There should be more live projects. So what could be done? Like I have seen many universities, what they are doing is they have tie up with some other universities, some foreign universities, and in that the students, they work on the live projects. The student will work on a live project of any international organization, and they will be part of that team, and they work on a live project. So it is just as good as working, if you're working on a project for 6 months. So it is as good as working on that project and having a work ex of six months, because you will be part of that particular team. So there should be more live projects which can bring more innovation into the system. Now, when we talk about innovation, there are a few dimensions. So I will be discussing four such dimensions here, how the innovation can be extended, or how the innovation can be should be implemented rather, in the education system. So the first dimension is the extent of newness. So what is the extent of newness that you have to decide? So is it that you are bringing something which is absolutely new, or it is that you are just improving something which is already a part of your curriculum? So whether it requires a fundamental redesigning or an incremental improvement. That is the first dimension that you have to decide, because first you have to decide in which areas you want to innovate, in which areas, in which subject, especially in a particular subject, in which topics, in which areas you want to bring innovation, or where there is a scope of more innovation, bringing more innovation into the system. So you have to find out whether what is the newness of that innovation. Is it requiring a fundamental redesigning, that you have to redesign your course entirely, or some incremental changes or improvements are required? The second dimension is the new? That means, is whatever you are bringing, is it something new that nobody has done, or is it something new to your system but already the other players, other universities or other educational institutions, they are already doing? So is it an invention that you have to do, or is it a replication? For example, you are teaching a particular subject and you want a gamification to be implemented into that. So is it like something that you are doing for the first time, and that there is no other organizations or institute they have done it earlier? So it is the kind of invention. Then you have to invent a game, you have to invent a software for this. Or it is something what other institutes are doing and you have to replicate that. The third dimension is the course new? So if you are implementing innovation or bringing innovation and new techniques, new technologies in your existing course, then you simply have to adopt what the best players are doing and what is already available in the market. Or if you are preparing a course which is altogether a new course, or you are completely redesigning the course, then you have to create more softwares, you have to create more applications, you have to create more online projects for your students. The fourth one is who initiates and implements the new. This is again very important, because at times it happens that if you want to bring in some new skills, if you want to bring in some new changes, maybe your current set of employees, your current set of team members, they are not expert of that. They are not equipped enough to bring that change, to sense that change, to design that change, and to bring that change. So you need to find out, the education institutes, they need to find out the change that they are planning to bring, the idea that they are planning to implement, the change they are planning to bring, the innovation they are planning to implement, the idea of innovation, whether this could be designed, implemented, and sustained by your existing team members. Do they have the competency for that, or you need to have external experts for doing that? So again, for each dimension, there is a long process of doing that. So it's not possible right now to discuss that, because it's a long topic of discussion, how these four dimensions are to be implemented when it comes to the actual courses. So it's not possible right now to take up that in detail. So I'm just trying to give an idea how the innovation has to be implemented into the system. So bring new softwares into the system, bring new technology into the system, bring new concepts in the system, bring new theories in the system, bring new researches which are being done, which are getting done across the globe into your system, to keep your students updated about what is happening. So if our education system is innovating, believe me, 70 to 80% of the efforts of our students can be reduced, right? The efforts that they have to go out of the way, the efforts that they have to put to go out of the way to find out new things, to search new things, to find out new courses, to do that, to pay for that, all these things, 80% of those efforts can be minimized if our education system will innovate on a very regular basis. And if our education system is innovative enough and it is changing at the pace how the external things are changing, how the external demands and external skills are changing. So it's very important for the education institutions right now to bring these changes into the system. Now coming to the next part of this session, how to write a effective resume. So I'll just give you a few tips, few points which you have to keep in mind, few quick points which you have to keep in mind whenever you are writing a resume or whenever you are sharing or sending your application to any of your employer. The first thing is have a realistic objective. So I have seen many times the students write a very universally correct kind of objective, And at times it is like one objective, and if all the resume it is the same objective, you copy from each other, or you copy from the internet, you find search for the objective. How can anyone else can define your objective? How can anyone else define your objective? That I don't understand. So objective is something which should be very particular, very individualistic, and very customized for yourself. So have a very realistic objective. Be realistic what you are. So I want to in a realistic objective, there are two things that you have to specify. First, what you have to have in order to offer to the organization. So it should be more driven like this, because I have seen many people, they have the objective like, my objective is to work with an organization of repute and which gives me ample opportunities to grow and learn. Now here, your objective is not realistic, because now you are talking too much, or you are basically you are expecting too much from the organization. You want a reputed organization first of all, then you want an organization which gives you ample opportunities to learn and grow. But what about what you have to offer? That's very important. So be a very realistic objective about what you have to offer to the organization. Customize your CV, customize your resume every time you are sending it to the employer. That's again very important. So do not just make your resume once, and it should not be like you are making your resume once and then you are sending your resume, the same resume, to everyone, to all the organizations. That's why I would suggest, even if you are on LinkedIn, try to apply. If you come across the jobs, try to apply for those jobs individually through the employer or through the portal, but customize your resume according to the job specifications. So go to the job specifications, customize your resume every time you're applying according to its industry, job description, and the profile. Because you know what the employers, they look into the resume is to what extent your resume fits into their filter or their checklist. So the more close your resume will be to the job specification, the better will be the chances for you that your resume will be shortlisted. Have a profile snapshot, because sometimes the organizations, they do not go through and read the entire, especially if the resume is too long. So have a brief profile, very strong profile snapshot, a brief about you, highlighting your capabilities, highlighting your strengths and your competencies. Update your resume every time you're sending it to the employer. Update it. Also update your resume on the job portals, because what happens is, in job portals, what happens when the employers, they are searching for the profiles from the portal, for example Naukri.com or any other portal. So what they do, there is one criteria which they select, that active, or the profile updated in last 15 days. So only those profiles will be sorted out, will be shortlisted and picked up by the system, by the search engine, who have updated their profile in last 15 days. So update, keep your profile updated, keep updating your profile, just open it, update and close it. Then numbers and figures should be there. For example, especially it will come into action when you have experiences, because whatever results you have achieved, whatever the outcome you have achieved, whatever performance you have shown, there should always be numbers. The more numbers will be there, the more impact it will have. Avoid any kind of sentence formation error or any kind of grammatical error. Make sure, double check your resume before you are sending, to avoid any kind of silly mistakes. Do not use slangs, do not use abbreviations and short forms in your resume. Keyword friendly. Keyword friendly is again very important, because this is how your profile, your resume is going to pop up when anyone is searching for it. So try to find out what are the keywords, which are important or which are relevant to your profile, to your resume. What are the keywords which people use when they will be searching, they want to search a person like you or the profile like you. That's very important. So make sure those keywords are there in your resume, so that the search engines, they can pick up your resume on the basis of these keywords. Editing and best use of space. Do not waste the space. There should not be any gaps to be specified. There should not be any gaps highlighted in the resume, and it should be real and easy. Be honest, Be truthful. Whatever you have actually done, just mention that. Whatever skills you have done, you actually have, just mention that. So do not just make a very flashy kind of resume, because you know what happens is that before you go to the employer, your resume go. Okay. And based on your resume, there is an image that has been created in the minds of the employer. So before you reach the employer, your resume acts like a representative of yourself in front of the employer. So whatever image you have created through your resume into the into the mind of the employer, you have to fit yourself into that image. So be very careful when you're creating that image. Read your resume again and again. Consult with some experts that whether it is able to project the right image that you want to be projected into the mind of the employer. So because if when you are going for the interview, when you are called for the interview, there is already a perception, an image that has been created in the mind of the employer about you. So you have to fit into that image. That's very important. Next, I would share some quick points with you on how to attend online interviews, because again, now everything is online, and at least in India, it's going to be like this only for a year or two at least. So it's very important now to know how to face online interviews and what are the things that you have to keep in mind when you are facing online interviews, because facing online interviews are entirely different from facing a face-to-face interviews. So when you are going for an online interview, it's very important to have some standard rules in mind. Like, for example, formal dressing, wearing solid colors, do not wear stripes or any other, prints when you are going to give an online interview, because sometimes it came out really, really awkward. Then wear shoes. Now, many times people will ask, like, why to wear shoes? Because when you are in a formal attire, right? When you are in a formal attire, tip to toe, it gives a different, it's a give a different confidence to you. It gives a different feeling to you. It gives a different kind of, you can say it gives a different feeling for you that yes, you are actually sitting for an interview. It makes your approach more formal. So that's important. So always be dressed, completely dressed in formal dressing, and avoid any kind of stripes or any other prints. Make sure you are wearing solid colors, not very bright colors as well, the colors which are soothing to the eyes of the interviewer. Again, customize yourself, then test your gear before, or everything, and the software, internet, any other thing, any document you want to share, keep backup ready with you, because if anything goes wrong at the time of interview, it can bring down your confidence and it can really make you nervous. So always keep the backup ready. Take help from someone. If you're not very if you are handling one device, take care that some other person is with you and that person is handling a backup device ready for you. If anything goes wrong, you should be able to switch comfortably into the other device without panicking. Have a neutral kind of background. Do not have very dark color background. Proper lighting should be there. You prioritize the camera, not the screen. So look at the camera and do not look at the screen a lot. Look at the camera, because this is how you're going to connect with your audience. Then have a small chair and sit straight. So do not sit on a very comfortable chair. Do not sit on a very comfortable couch or sofa when you are giving an interview. This is a very basic thing, but at times people make these mistakes. So sit on a small chair, sit straight, sit attentively. Pitch modulation, slow and clear. Restrict hand movements, restrict your own movements, like do not move like this. At times you don't realize, but when you are talking, you are moving forward and backward, you are moving here and there. So that creates distraction to the interviewer. Your pitch modulation should be very good. So where you want to emphasize, because the way you are emphasizing your pitch modulation is something which will invite further questions. So people say that interview is how interviewers are taking the interview, but no, interview is always, it is directed, it is controlled by the interviewee. So you will give leads during interview, it is you, consciously, unconsciously, it is you who are giving leads to the interviewer that what should be the next question of the interviewer. So be very clear about what things you want to emphasize on, what things you want interviewer to ask you questions on, which are your strong areas. So it bring through your pitch modulations, try to bring the interviewer and the conversation into that area. These are all tactics of guiding your interview and controlling your own interview actually. So I cannot go into much detail right now, but yes, pitch modulation, it should be slow, it should be clear, should not be very loud, should not be very slow, and the hand movements and body movements should be restricted. Then if you have pets, the thing is that you have to keep the pets away. There should not be, or any kids at home, so there should not be any disturbance. The idea is there should not be any disturbance. Eliminate any kind of distractions. Now there are two things which you have to keep in mind. First is the time zone, especially if you are appearing for interviews outside India. So be very careful about the time zone. And one more thing is cheat sheet. So you must be wondering what are the cheat sheets? Cheat sheets are some points, because at times, what happens when we are giving interviews, we skip, we forget, we skip certain points. And after the interview, when we came back, right? After the interview is over, then we think, oh, that was the point. How could I forget to speak that point? That was the point I always wanted to speak. But I don't know what happened during interview. It just escaped out of my mind. Right? So have some cheat sheets. For example, sticky notes. So just write those points and just stick it on the back of your laptop. So for example, I'll show you. For example, this is a laptop. So what you do, you just stick it here so that you can see. And it will not make the interviewer know or feel that you are looking at somewhere, because if you look like this, if you like this, then they will come to know that, okay, you are looking at the points and then you are speaking. So the camera is there, you are simply moving your eyes a bit and you're able to get the point. So have those cheat sheets with you. That's actually an advantage in the virtual interview. So have these cheat sheets with you, so that you will not be missing on any important points. So these were certain tips from my side. They can be, so many things are still not covered because of the paucity of time. And I would say that if you want to be really doing good, have self-branding. Self-branding is try to brand yourself. When you want to brand yourself, make more value additions to your profile. Make yourself a brand. Be active on LinkedIn. It's a very strong social platform. And I'm sure, I can bet you, if you are active on LinkedIn and you are using it correctly, you're going to be benefited a lot. Be visible. You will be selected. You will be chosen. You will be liked by people only when you are visible. And build your network. Build your network on social media. Build your network offline with your people or with your contacts, but build your network. That's very important. And keep yourself updated about what is happening in the network and what is happening across. So this was from me right now, and I wanted to discuss so many other things as well, but we have limited time. And I would like to tell you one more thing. I personally conduct many programs, many things for students. These are short-term training courses for the students, which I do, and they have benefited, because I have done these courses with many students in many universities and in many colleges, and these actually, they make a lot of difference into the freshers especially, and you will feel the difference when you will be entering into the corporate. You will feel the difference when you will be communicating. After learning these skills, when you will be communicating among your peer, among your colleagues, among your friends, you will feel the difference. So these are a set of courses which I offer to the students. And if you are interested in attending any of these courses, you can get in touch with me. You can also connect with me on LinkedIn, right? I'm on LinkedIn with the name Dr. Shadma Parveen. This is my LinkedIn ID. So you can connect with me on LinkedIn. You can follow me there, and you can also connect with me to my company. I have a consulting company here in UAE. So, and I offer these kind of courses to students, and there are many more courses also. There are some high-level courses also. I've just shared with you the basic courses that I offer to the students. So if you want to inquire more, if you are interested, because these courses are not really highly priced also. And I always, because I told you that I'm really close to Aligarh Muslim University, and I give very good discounts to students who are from Aligarh Muslim University. These are very short courses. If you want to take up any, you can just drop an email at info@menectar.com, and I'll share the details with you. I also work as a mentor for students as well as corporates. And I provide consultation like how to prepare for a particular interview. Like, for example, if you have an interview, so how to prepare yourself for that interview, what are the questions that you need to focus on, what are the things that you need to ask to the employer during the interview. So I provide one-to-one consultation and coaching also. So in any case, anytime if you find that I can be of help to you, you can definitely connect with me through the email ID or through LinkedIn. So that's all from me. What do you, Faisal sir?
Thanks a lot, ma'am. It was certainly extremely engaging, and you presented it in a crystal clear manner. And I'm sure students must have prepared their query list, and they must have learned a lot. For instance, if I count, I have umpteenth number of keywords which I have collected from your presentation, and it was really an enriching experience to
Thank you so much.
be present in this session. For instance, various important aspects which you talked about, which students must keep in their mind, or even the faculty members which are currently online, they must also try to imbibe these points in their professional lives, as well as some of them are extremely useful for adaptation in our personal lives as well. Personality development, communication skills, learning the language of the of native language wherever you wish to get settled or want to work. And communication skills are not only verbal. You quite amply,
Non-verbal.
yeah, I mean, through your mannerisms as well, you can communicate a lot.
And you won't believe, Faisal sir, you won't believe 80% of the message that is communicated is not communicated with what we speak. It's only 30% is what we speak, and 70%,
Sure.
80%, 20% is what we speak, and 80% is through our body language.
Definitely. Then adaptability. Our specifically students of diploma in engineering, even if they get a job offer, it is quite often the problem with them that they are not ready to move out of their comfort space. Okay, so they will either look for a job within Aligarh or in the periphery of Aligarh. So
No,
this
come
is
out of Aligarh. The word is, see, you will feel the difference when you will come out, and you will feel blessed that you make the difference to come out. So have that critical thinking when it comes to your career. Have that critical thinking, and do not limit yourself to that comfort zone. The best will come. Yeah, experimentation is leading to something awesome.
We try our level best to to convince them, but it is up to them. Then problems accompanied with solutions. Whenever you are approaching your employer, you just don't be someone who throws tantrums all the time and just keep complaining, because such an employee is never welcome in any organization. Because in the end, what you do is you also take down your colleagues with you, because such things are very infectious. Good and bad, both kind of habits can be very infectious, so you can be very lethal for your organization as well.
True, very true.
Then value addition extremely important, especially in the current times, wherein you have to you have to absorb different kind of skill sets, because you are operating in a totally different space. Okay, most of the times you are online, you are interacting with your clients, with your employer online. So you have to have certain degree of online etiquettes. You have to learn online etiquettes, which you also deliberated upon quite nicely. Then data, importance of data. We are seeing how various companies are even molding our habits in a particular way. They will keep bombarding you with a certain kind of advertisements on Facebooks and all such things. So try to understand, try to gauge the importance of data. because data will be something, the future life will be driven by data. And the new normal, most important thing, even if we get over with this tide of COVID and all such problem, just remember one thing, as madam has already articulated, there will never be a post 2020 period coming back again. There will be a new normal. The things are not going to work the same as they used to work before 2020. Then art of attending online meetings, extremely important since everything is happening online. So these are the various points which I have collected. I am sure students must have collected a lot of queries, collected a lot of useful things. So now the house is open to students. अगर कोई स्टूडेंट लैंग्वेज की कोई इसके अंदर बाउंडेशन नहीं है, आप जिस लैंग्वेज में भी पूछना चाहें आप पूछ सकते हैं अपने क्वेश्चंस. हैंड रेज कीजिए, मैं आपको अनम्यूट कर दूंगा, या अगर आप चैट्स में कुछ लिखना चाहें तो अपने क्वेश्चन चैट में अपलोड कर दीजिए. एक चीज, उसके अलावा एक और इम्पॉर्टेंट चीज ये है कि चैट बॉक्स में मैं अभी एक फीडबैक फॉर्म का लिंक शेयर कर रहा हूँ. गूगल फॉर्म हमने क्रिएट किया है, फीडबैक फॉर्म, और आपको जिसको क्योंकि हम इसका सर्टिफिकेट जो है डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करेंगे, तो सर्टिफिकेट इसी लिस्ट से जनरेट होगा जो लोग फीडबैक देंगे. तो काइंडली मेक श्योर दैट इफ यू रिक्वायर सर्टिफिकेट फॉर दिस पर्टिकुलर वेबिनार, देन यू मस्ट फिल द feedback form, and feedback form will be active only for next 10 to 15 minutes, so that only the participants who are currently who have currently joined or who are currently online, only the real participant, actual attendees get to have the benefit of availing the certificate for the course. So ये मैंने अभी चैट बॉक्स में शेयर किया है लिंक, आप इसको फिल भी कर दें और अपनी क्वायरीज आप प्लीज रेज योर क्वायरीज, आप अपना हैंड रेज कीजिए, मैं अनम्यूट कर दूंगा, या चैट बॉक्स में अगर कोई भी हमारा स्टूडेंट या फैकल्टी मेंबर अगर कुछ पूछना चाहे मैम से. सो वी आर फॉर्चुनेट, फर्स्ट ऑफ एज आई मेंशन्ड अर्लियर एज वेल, वी आर फॉर्चुनेट टू हैव सच एन एक्सपर्ट विद अस, and it was so nice of her to agree to this interaction. And we wanted to organize this program earlier, but because of certain reasons it could not be organized, and still we went ahead, and it was very so very kind of you, ma'am, to have accommodated the new dates.
My pleasure, sir. My pleasure.
In your busy schedule. तो अगर कोई स्टूडेंट कुछ पूछना चाहे, कोई क्वेरी हो मैडम से, तो उसे चैट बॉक्स में राइट कर दीजिए या हैंड रेज कीजिए. Any student? I think सब लोग फॉर्म इस वक्त फिल करने में लगे हुए हैं. There are hardly 2 entries which you have to fill in the feedback form. So ma'am, you have been associated with a lot of university in India as well. I believe you have also worked with some universities as a teaching professional.
I was working. Yes, it's been 15 years now. I'm into academics, and it's since from the very beginning, because I have interest in academics, and I have also interest in corporate training, the training thing. So when I started academics, I made sure that from the very beginning I was involved into the student trainings, soft skill training. So it's been like 15 years, and gradually I moved into corporate also. So when I came here, the working and the way of working is entirely different here. So here, if you're working independently, you have ample opportunities to work. So I work with, I teach MBA courses here. I teach MBA courses for UK-based universities, Wolverhampton University, Cardiff University, Cardiff Metropolitan University. So I am teaching batches for those MBA programs of these universities as well. Plus here in UAE, the MBA programs of UAE-based universities for UAE nationals and Emiratis. So, and working with corporate. So it is very good, you can say very good kind of exposure that you get. That's why I always encourage students that do not confine yourself to a particular city, right? Be open to changes, be open to challenges. The more you experiment, the more awesome results are going to come. The more your brain are like parachutes, open them to new things. Then only they will work.
Exactly.
Do not
Ma'am, Mansoor Alam is asking how to get a professional job. So this is a very generalized sort of question.
Yeah. See, every job is professional. So professional. Okay, I'll take
This
the
is the
first
second
question of
question.
Mansoor
This is
Alam.
the
How to
second.
get a professional job? See, every job is professional. So you cannot say any job which is non-professional. The thing is what kind of efforts you are putting. So do not just rely on one thing, because gone are those days when people used to see in that Times of India classified. What was that? Which used to come only on Wednesday for the
Ascent.
job openings.
Ascent.
Time spent, yeah. So just stop. Yeah, gone are those days that you have to wait for 1 week to apply for a job. Search for the companies, prepare your own database, just keep yourself updated about what is happening where. That's why I'm saying that be on LinkedIn, be very active on LinkedIn. There are so many things people share now on LinkedIn, not only on Facebook. Facebook still is like a more kind of different kind of social platform, but I would prefer that every student should be on LinkedIn, and I would say that universities should also encourage students to be part of LinkedIn. Make your profile very impressive. Learn how to make good profile so that people will be impressed with your profile. Apply, connect with people over there. They can tell you when any job will be posted by them, that you will be notified. Search jobs from different medium. Register yourself for the job portals which work here in UAE. So register yourself. You will get to know what kind of job openings are there. Try to apply and try to approach directly to the employer. Send your CV directly on the email ID with a proper good cover letter and a very impressive CV. What you are sending to the employer is what is going to make sure that whether you are getting a call for shortlisted candidates or not. Then the first round, or mostly now though, all the rounds will be virtually. So learn how to talk to people, learn how to talk to the interviewer, how to attend an interview call, telephonic interview call, what exactly you need to say. You should not be murmuring there, you should not be stumbling there when attending the calls or when attending the online interviews. That confidence should be reflected, right? So these are the skills. This is what I'm saying, that this is not something which will come naturally. This is something you have to learn. This is something you have to learn. And this is what is going to decide whether you will be getting the job or not. Getting a job is still not difficult. Getting the job which is right for you, which is right for your learning, that is important. So initially, do not go behind money, go for the job. I still remember because I was in HR, and you know that for HR students, there are very few companies actually which come to the campus for the campus placement. They're mainly for finance or for marketing. So I was offered a job in marketing and sales. I declined. I know it's not my area. So it's also very important to identify what kind of job you could do, what kind of job you cannot do. So it's very important to identify what are your skills and what is acceptable to you. Like, I'm a person, I cannot do sales. I'm a person, I cannot do finance. So I was very clear from the very beginning, I want to go into HR because I have a personal inclination. This actually suits me, and this suits with my skills. So that's very important. The first job which I rejected at that point in 2007, the first job which I rejected for marketing and sales was for 25,000 per month, right? And the job I selected and joined when I went for many interviews, the first offer that I got, and I just after analysis with the after which that I joined was for 5,000 a month. So I declined, or at that point, I declined an offer of 25,000 and joined 5,000 because this was the job I wanted to do. This is where I wanted to join. So don't run behind money. Don't run behind place. Go with the job. That's very important. Where you can utilize your skills, where you can be able to, compatible with the job. So rest everything comes secondary. The first thing is to get into your field, and for that you need to have a very good, you can say, awareness about yourself, and also very good method of searching for the jobs.
Now
That's very important.
another question which Vikas has posted is, how can we explore more opportunities for us within our study period during this pandemic?
There is no dearth of that. You have internet, isn't it? You have internet, you have accessibility. There are so many websites, there are so many universities now. The courses which are highly priced earlier, because they were all face-to-face and campus programs, everything is online. So I would say that this pandemic actually came as a boom for students. I will tell you, I have attended during the 2020, because 2020 corporate trainings were almost nil. Okay, because everything, everywhere around the globe, that was a lockdown was there. So corporate trainings were not happening. So I should also have been stressed, isn't it? No, I utilized my time and I did many courses which actually added value, because the trainings have stopped. The offices were locked down, but the employees are working. The people are researching. They are coming up with new things. They are coming up with new technologies, new methods, new tactics, new strategies to cope up with this pandemic, to come up with this pandemic, to, to be able to sail through this pandemic wave of pandemic and to come out with as a champion later. So I just kept myself updated about it. I have done so many courses which actually add very good knowledge and very good, you can say, value addition for me, real value addition. So search for that. You have internet, and that is the biggest tool you can have right now. Search for that. Search for various programs. There are many programs. There are many courses which are free also. Okay, which are being offered by very many of the top universities across the globe, which are offering some new courses, which, because you know what, they have developed some new courses. So right now they are offering it for free, to get the feedback, to see the responses. After some time, those courses will be paid. So the better will be, the sooner you will do it, the better it will be for you. So search for these type of courses, search for their skills, do short-term courses, many programs and many short-term trainings you can do with me as well, because what I have shared. So if you actually, if first of all, you have to identify where exactly you want to develop yourself. So if you feel that, yes, I'm weak in presentation skills, so this is the first thing I want to develop. This is the first thing I want to develop. I'm weak in, speaking and communication. So this is the first thing I have to develop. So first introspect yourself. First identify what are the things that you have to develop. Do not work on so many things. Work one thing at a time. Work one skill at a time. Go one by one. Do not think that in 1 day or in 2 days, I will be the champion and I will be like expert of all these skills. No, that couldn't happen. So take one skill at a time and try to develop that. Explore the areas which are related to you. You have your expertise, you are doing your engineering in a particular in a particular subject, in a particular area. Learn, explore what are the new things which are coming up, what are the new methods, new researches, new softwares, new technologies, what are the new things coming up, and then try to do courses in those things, do training programs in those things. There are enough, if you want to learn, there is enough and ample data available. There are so many things on YouTube, there are so many things on various journals. You can learn if you want to learn so many things. At the end, it is your knowledge that is going to give you advantage in the job, getting the job, and also in doing the job and getting the promotions. So if you want, you can take up certain programs with me also. If you want one-to-one coaching, I can provide you that. Or if you will be connecting on LinkedIn with various people, you will find various people like me. There are so many things which can happen on social networking site. So this is how I think that you can get opportunity, because there is no one particular source that I can tell you, okay, this is the URL, just go to this and you will find all the information. No, you have to put efforts. You have to put efforts and search.
So basically, one size doesn't fit all. You have to identify which are your weak areas and then just try and groom yourself in that particular area. Madam has already provided you various options. Okay.
Yeah, because it is your improvement
Exactly,
journey.
exactly.
So your improvement journey cannot be anyone else. It has to be customized for you.
Exactly. So Dawood asks how to link our academic knowledge to practical world.
Where is the question?
How
How
to
to
link
link our
academic knowledge
academic knowledge
to practical
to the
world.
practical. See, this is what I have been talking about. That whatever you are learning, see how the people are implementing that. If you are learning a theory, if you are learning about artificial intelligence, if you are learning about AR, VR, augmented reality, virtual reality, for example, so you're just learning the concept. See how people are implementing it. See what advancements have been done. See how what technologies have been there in the market. right? So this is how you have to see, you have to actually integrate your theoretical knowledge with the practical knowledge, how it is being implemented, practical is being implemented. If I'm talking for example, if I have done a course on HR analytics, so I have learned the theory of HR analytics, I have learned the process of HR analytics. But if I want to see how it is being implemented, then I have to see how organizations are using it, right? So that is what the practical part is. Take up the projects, take up the small projects. I would also suggest for engineering students, there are various web portals, various platforms wherein people they post some small projects, right? Technical projects, and you do that project and you will be paid for that. So do not go for how much they are paying. Go for experience. The more you do, the more you learn. There are many websites where people they work as freelance, so log in into those websites, register to those websites, and try to get some small projects through. But before that, see the authenticity of the website as well. Learn the reviews always before putting any of your payment option into the website. This is what I suggest, because there are so many, because everything is virtual, there are so many fake things also. So verify the source and the platform and the authenticity of the platform. But there are many platforms which offer these, short-term projects kind of thing. So the more you do, the more live projects you do, more experience you will get, and you will also get to learn, okay, what else I have to learn now to to transform my knowledge into the practical knowledge. This is what you can do.
Now
I hope I've answered your question.
there are two interconnected questions, so I will take them together. Shivam asks, how can you get more practical knowledge in present conditions? And there is another question, connecting question by Sanjeev, who asks how to increase our experience without live practical. So basically they are asking, in the present circumstances, since practical classes and experiments are not taking place, so how to supplement them. So I will just like to add a few words over here. We are, as teachers, because I am primarily an associate professor in electrical engineering, I teach courses associated with electrical engineering. So this term, because in the earlier semester, lockdown was enforced in an emergency condition. We were not at all prepared for online interaction. So we ourselves did not know how to supplement our experiments with online teaching. So, but this time around, we have innovated a little bit. And what we have been doing is, and students know it, we have been sending them videos of live demonstrations, which we prepare ourselves in our lab classes. So each and everything is there, demonstrations are there, then you are accompanying explanation is also there. Then on the particular turn, whenever you are supposed to have your lab class, the teachers invariably come and interact with you to clarify your queries. So at present, we found it to be the best possible solution. But rest, I will now hand over to Madam to further add if she whatever she wants to add in this particular direction.
Yeah, one thing that could be done, but that could not be done by the students. That has to be done by the university itself. This is the trend that I have seen here, because since I'm into corporate training, so there are many vendors, many service providers. They contact me that we have developed some kind of games, gamification, which can be implemented into, or which can be incorporated with your training. Because earlier same thing was there in training as well. Earlier when I used to go and conduct face-to-face training, I used to conduct many activities, many management activities and management games, which are not possible in the online system, in the online training programs. So what these kind of organizations they have done, they have converted those kind of games, or those kind of activities and experiments into the form of games. So that kind of gamification could be the next stage of innovation in the education, when you do that through a software, through a 3D or 4D software, wherein the students they get a feel as if they are actually sitting in the lab and doing the experiments. I'll give you a
Virtual
very
reality
simple
sort of
example.
thing. Yeah.
Yes, virtual and augmented reality, basically. So the same thing, I will share. My daughter is here in grade 2. So their school, they have came up with one such software. It's a merge cube. So it's like a code, scan code is there in a cube form and paper cube. And when you will put it in front of the camera, right? That will open up into a 3D image. A 3D image, for example, a skeletal system. So a 3D image where you can rotate it, you can, zoom it on a particular part, on a particular bone, and then it will pop up what is that bone, what is the function, what is the details and everything. So the idea is these kind of thing could be done if like for example, mechanical engineers, they cannot go to the lab. So the 3D and 4D animations with the virtual reality, this gamification kind of thing, it can be implemented to give the feel to the students that they are sitting right there in the lab and they are doing the experiment. And there could be one instructor who is doing that, who is giving the explanation about the experiment. At the same time, students are doing that. So this is how the things have to be innovated in the virtual thing, in the virtual world. This is how it has to be innovated. And moreover, whatever things you want to learn about your experiments and all, I would say search it over the over internet. This is how I also do. And you will get many things, you will get many good videos, many informative videos which are there, which can make you understand. Because the idea is, the purpose is not like who is making you understand or from where you get the information. The idea is, if I want to learn, I can get and I can learn it from any of the sources. The source doesn't matter. So your first approach is, do not depend on the education system, because university system also need time to change, to evolve, right, to bring out these changes. So do not just limit yourself to or depend yourself only on what is being provided by the university. You have different means, you have different medium, you have different sources. Try to learn from them. This is how you can do it.
I think we are pretty much done with all the questions which were posted by student. I extend again a very warm and a very sincere thanks to you, ma'am, for
My pleasure,
joining
sir,
us.
my pleasure.
For joining us and इतना अच्छी तरह से सारी चीजें deliberate हुई और बच्चों ने I think they must have enjoyed a lot interacting with you. Madam has already given you her LinkedIn ID and all the details. You can search for her on LinkedIn. And अगर कोई आपकी queries हो आप उनसे connect. Madam काफी training programs of her own. She has customized training programs for different needs. So you can always get in touch with her. Get connected. As मैडम ने ऑलरेडी आपको बताया है कि लिंक्डइन पे अपना प्रोफाइल बनाइए और
I'll share once again if you want.
एक्सप्लोर कीजिए. मैडम दोबारा से आपको लिंक्डइन अपना आईडी बता रही हैं. सो कनेक्ट विद हर, इंटरैक्ट विद हर ओवर देयर. ये इनका लिंक्डइन
you can take a screenshot of this.
Yes.
You can connect with me, or you can drop an email to this email ID. And if you are interested in any of the program, you can take a screenshot of this, and then I'll change. I will also show you the programs that I offer. These are not the exhaustive list. This is just the basic list. So it's like, because I have been working with the students, so I know like how to connect with the students and how to impart a skill to the students. And these are some of the very basic training programs which I offer to students. And this is, believe me, this is a must-have for you to be ready. Utilize your time. This is a must-have for you to be ready for the corporates.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I think we should now conclude our session, and it was wonderful to host you over here virtually in your alma mater. And
definitely, whenever I will come to India, I will come there and I will interact with the students face to face.
Absolutely. We would love to have you over here in our university. And we also extend advance invitation for that whenever you are in India.
I will definitely come.
Thank you, ma'am.
My pleasure.